Hi, this is Emma from Stitched Up by Emma, and in this video I'm going to show you the basics of my Diamond Filet Mile a Minute blanket. For this project you will need DK yarn, and the amounts will be listed below in the description, a 4mm crochet hook, scissors and a darning needle. Let's begin. To start, we're going to place a slip knot on our hook and we're going to work 16 chains. Okay, so we're going to be working our first double crochet in the third chain from the hook. When we're counting, we don't count this one on the hook, so 1, 2 and 3. And I'm going to work in the back bump, so I'm just going to flip my chain over. I'm going to yarn over and insert our hook, pull up a loop, and we'll have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and that is our first double crochet worked. And I'm going to continue working 1 double crochet in every chain along. So we should have 15 stitches in total. Now the chain 2 at the beginning of our row counts as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Moving on to row 2, we're going to turn our work. We're going to chain 2. Now this chain 2 counts as a stitch here and throughout the whole pattern. So when we're working our first double crochet, we'll work into the second stitch, not the stitch at the base of the chain 2. So we're going to be working 6 double crochet. So you'll have 7 in total with the chain 2. So work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next stitch and work our double crochet in the stitch after. We want to work a total of 7 to the end of the row. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our 7th double crochet is worked into the chain 2 from the beginning of the previous row. So you've got the first chain and the second chain. It can help by popping a stitch marker into that second chain to help locate it, as they are quite small. Moving on to row 3, we're going to turn our work and chain 2. We're going to work 4 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we'll have 5 stitches in total because the chain 2 at the beginning. Going to chain 1, skip a stitch and then work our next double crochet in the stitch after, and we're going to work 3 in total. So 1, number 2 goes directly into the chain space from the previous row, and 3. We're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch and then work 5 double crochets to the end of the row. We want to remember that that 5th stitch will go into the chain 2 from the beginning of the previous row. Row 4, we're going to turn our work and chain 2. We then need to double crochet 2 stitches So we have 3 in total. We're going to chain 1, skip 1 and work 7 double crochet, working our stitches into the chain spaces below. We'll then chain 1, skip 1 and work 3 double crochets to the end of the row, working that 3rd double crochet into the top of the chain 2 from the previous row. Onto row 5, we're going to turn our work and chain 2. We'll then need to work 4 double crochet, so I have 5 in total. I'm going to chain 1, skip a stitch and work 3 double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch and then work 5 double crochet to the end of the row, working that 5th stitch into the top of the chain 2 from the previous row. Moving on to row 6, we're going to turn our work and chain 2. We then need to double crochet 6 stitches. We'll chain 1, skip a stitch and then work 7 double crochet to the end of the row, remembering to work that last stitch in the chain 2 from the previous row. So we've come to the end of our repeat section and we just now need to repeat rows 3 to 6 until we have the length of our blanket. So we just work rows 3 to 6 again and again and again until you have the length that you wish. I'm going to work an extra 2 repeats just for the purpose of this swatch, and I'll meet you back once I have finished that. So I finished working my repeats and I'm happy with the length of my strip. We just now need to work 1 final row, so we're going to turn our work and chain 2 and just work 1 double crochet in each stitch along and then fasten off. And we'll just continue making strips in this way until you have enough strips for how wide you would like your blanket to be. It's now time to join our strips, so we're going to grab strip 1 and we are going to work a full border around the edge of strip 1, and this strip will be on the far right and every strip will be joined to the left of the previous strip. So I'm going to attach my yarn to the bottom left hand corner And we're just going to be attaching it to that first stitch. I'm going to be using a standing half double crochet, but you can join in any method that you choose. So we're going to yarn over and secure with our finger and insert into the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and we have our first half double crochet of the row. We're then just going to work 1 half double crochet in every stitch along the bottom of the strip until we get to the end. Now, as our chain 2s count as stitches, we need to make sure that we work our last half double crochet of the row in the top of the chain 2. At the end of the row, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to turn our work and we're going to work along the side of the strip. We're going to be working into the row ends of the blanket, so they leave quite nice gaps so you can see where you need to place your hook. We're going to be working 2 half double crochets around each double crochet row end. So there's 1 and going back into that same space, 2, moving over to the next row end, work another 2 half double crochets and continue this up the side of the strip until we reach the top. The last 2 half double crochets of this side will be worked around the chain 2 from the beginning of the row. We're then going to chain 2, turn slightly, and we just might need to move our stitches down because we need to work our first half double crochet into the top of that chain 2, and I like to go through both loops of the stitch. So that's the first half double crochet of this row, and then we're just going to place 1 half double crochet into each stitch along the top. Getting to the end, we're going to chain 2 and work down the other side, working the 2 half double crochets into each row end as we did before. Once we've worked our last 2 half double crochets, we'll chain 2. We then need to slip stitch into that first stitch that we created, and then we'll fasten off, and that is our first strip complete. We just then need to go ahead and sew in our ends before we start joining the next strip. So we're going to join strip 2 now, and it is joined to the left of strip 1. We're going to attach our yarn to the bottom left in the first stitch, exactly as we did with strip 1. So we're just going to spin it round, and again I'm going to join with a standing half double crochet. You can join in any method that you prefer, and we're going to work 1 half double crochet in every stitch along as we did with strip 1. So it's now time to join the strip. So I'm going to chain 1 for my corner. I'm going to locate the bottom corner chain space, insert my hook from front to back, pull the yarn back through to the front, and I'll have 2 loops on my hook, and then I'm just going to pull through the second loop to slip stitch. I'm then going to move back to strip 2, and in that first gap around the double crochet row ends I'll work my 2 half double crochets. Go back to strip 1 and locate my clusters, and I'm going to slip stitch in between those clusters. Come back and work your 2 half double crochets in the row end on strip 2. Find your next 2 clusters and slip stitch in between the 2 of them. And then work your 2 half double crochets on strip 2 again. And we're just going to continue this all the way up the side of this strip. We're going to work our last 2 half double crochets around that chain 2 as we did with strip 1. To work the corner, we're going to locate that top corner stitch and slip stitch into the chain space. We'll chain 1 to finish the corner off, and then we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each stitch along, remembering to get that first chain 2 from the beginning of the row, as it does count as a stitch. We're then just going to finish bordering strip 2 as we did with strip 1, where we half double crochet along the top. We'll chain 2 and work down the side, working the 2 half double crochets down the side of the blanket in each row end. Finally chain 2 and slip stitch to that first stitch and fasten off. So I've finished bordering strip 2 and I've sewn in on my ends. As you can see, this join is quite a sturdy join, and all that's left now to do is add a border. So we're going to attach our yarn to the top right hand corner chain space, and again I'm going to do this with a standing half double crochet. So we'll just find that chain space and work our first stitch, which will be a half double crochet if you're attaching in any other method. We're going to chain 2 and then work another half double crochet into that same corner space, and that will be our corner stitch made. We're then just going to work 1 half double crochet in every stitch around the blanket. When we reach the join of the strips, we're just going to work 2 half double crochets in the corner space, and then 2 half double crochets in the next corner space, and that just helps bridge the gap of the join. And then just continue working 1 half double crochet in every stitch around. When you get to the corners, it will be half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet. You can just continue this all the way around, and I'll meet you back when you get to the end of this round. Now that we're coming up to the end of the round, we'll just finish the last few stitches. And then we just want to slip stitch to that first half double crochet that we made. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the corner chain space as well. Okay, so we're now moving on to round 2 of the border, and we've slip stitched into that corner space. We're then going to chain 4, and the chain 4 counts as a double crochet and a chain 2. We're going to finish off that corner by working another double crochet into that corner chain space. We're then going to chain 1, we're going to skip the next stitch and work a double crochet in the stitch after, and we're going to repeat this around the entire blanket. So chain 1, miss 1, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. So we're coming up on the corner. We're going to chain 1 and we'll skip a stitch, and then we'll work directly into the corner with a double crochet. Do not worry if you finish on the stitch directly before the corner. This is quite a forgiving row, so that if your stitch count is slightly off, it will not matter. Just chain 1 and then double crochet into the corner space and finish off with the 2 chains and the final double crochet, and then you'll chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next stitch, and we'll just continue this all the way around the blanket, and I'll meet you back for joining at the end of the round. So we've carried on working our chain 1, skip 1, double crochet around the whole blanket, and we're just worked our last double crochet, and we're going to chain 1, and then we need to slip stitch to the second chain from that chain 4. Moving on to the final round, I'm going to slip stitch into that corner chain space and chain 1. This does not count as a stitch. I'm going to work 5 half double crochets into that chain space. And then I'm going to work 1 half double crochet in every stitch and chain space around the blanket. And when we get to the next corner, we'll work the 5 half double crochets and then continue with 1 half double crochet in every stitch and chain space until we get to the beginning of the round. So we're just working the last few half double crochets of this round. And just make sure that we get that top of the chain 2 from the previous row. We're going to join with a slip stitch and fasten off, and that is the basics to the Diamond Filet Mile a minute blanket. I hope that you found this helpful. Please do consider liking and subscribing, it really does help the channel out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!